Hello and good evening, fellow tavern regulars. Welcome to Let's Listen here on Bonus Stage today. My name is Josh, and tonight I am joined by the Axe and the Ale themselves, Diwa and Isabel. How are you two doing?
Hey.
Hey, hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Uh,
Nice to have you on the show here. Yeah, Isabel, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to be here, and I actually just came back from an actual tavern, so I'm already in the mood for a lot of tavern discussion and tavern music.
Perfect.
And you're dressed the part too.
Yeah.
And Diwa, you didn't just come back from a tavern, but you are also dressed the part. How are you doing
Of
tonight?
course. Thank you so much for having us. I'm so excited to be here. And hello everyone in chat.
Yes, hi. And of course, the big reason that we are all here tonight is to listen to and to celebrate the release of your debut album, Tavern Melodies. This is a really lovely collection of original compositions influenced by medieval music, medieval video games. But people who already know you will know, of course, that you've done lots of past similar VGM covers together. So I wanted to kind of like start us there and ask, like, where did Axe and Ale come from? Like how did this all start?
Do you want to tell the origin story, SPG?
Okay, sure. So, uh, origin story shortcut. Firamel and I met back in 2020 here on Twitch because of all the violin streamers like congregating on Twitch, and we met in one of the violin streamers that we both watched together. Fast forward to some months later, we decided, hey, you like Witcher music. I like Witcher music. You want to do a collab? So it started with one of our Witcher 3 collaborations. And then we did three other Witcher collaborations. And it started with that. We both realized that we both have this fascinating fascinating love for medieval fantasy baroque style music, and was like, you know what would be a cool project to do together? An original album, something like that. Fast forward to just the beginning of this year, we were both playing, especially with Taladar as well. Taladar in chat, we are in a guild
Yes.
together in Lord of the Rings
Yes.
Online. And just a few weeks ago, just a few months ago, they had a new update concerning the Shire, the Hobbit location in the game. And we both logged in to just explore. You just see the sights and sounds. And we entered one of the random taverns that is like in the game, and it was populated by hobbits. And the music is great, amazing music. And we were just like virtually sitting in the tavern. Why don't we make an album like this? I could do the strings, you could do the winds. It will be great. So that's pretty much the shortcut of the origin story of Accent Ale.
Oh, well, that's beautiful. Isabel, anything to add to that? Any of your side of perspective you want to
Oh,
augment that
I
story with?
Yeah, just like some random silly detail that does not really add much to the story, but it was like we were like I was like, "Oh, SPG, do you want to play Lord of the Rings online?" And then SPG was like, "Yeah, let's play a bit." And then I don't know why. I think we didn't have like any common quests to do that day. And then I was like, "Okay, I can't find any quests that we both have, so let's just walk around." So we were like just on our horses, and I was like, "Oh, do you want to explore the new Hobbit areas?" And SPG was like, "Oh, sure, let's do that." And then we were like in the Yonder Shire and other similar areas, and we entered like a Hobbit tavern, and then just what SPG said, we were just like vibing to the songs of the tavern. We were like for a lot of time and like chatting on the chat of the game inside the game. And then we reached what SPG said. It was like, oh, why don't we do something like that? why don't we compose music like in this style? We both like this style, and we play the instruments to do that, to make that happen. And that was that. And I think, I mean, SPG of course has like such an amazing career as a composer already, so I mean it's not like really surprising for him to do original music. But I was like, I don't know if I like, I did compose some pieces, but usually I never finish them or whatever. But I was like, I don't know if I can compose stuff, but at the same time I was like, I think I can, because I listen to this style so much, and I have been also improvising more and more and more lately. So I was like, yeah, I think I can. And then yeah, it works.
And
Absolutely. You guys have a really nice minimalist instrumentation for the album. Of course, the subtitle of the album is Medieval Lute and Flute Dances of the Hobbits, Volume 1. Uh,
Volume 1.
there's a lot to unpack in that title there. Dances of the Hobbits, you were obviously in the tavern, influenced by the Hobbits. The word Hobbits comes up in the song titles so much. Yeah,
Yes.
and but this is just volume one, so I imagine there are yet more hobbits who want to dance and need some fresh music for that. But we can get towards like the future a little bit later on. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like we need to dig in a little bit. We need to be in the atmosphere that you two have set here. We need to soak that in and see what that was like through your music. Shall we dig in with the first couple of tracks
Sure.
here?
Let's do
Yes.
it.
Right
Yes.
on.
Let's do
Folks,
this.
this is the Hobbit Dance at the Medieval Tavern, followed by Picking Up Berries, a Hobbit Dance for a Sunny Afternoon. Such charming titles. Let's.
Dance
Let's
at
go.
the tavern.
All right, let's listen, folks. Oh my god, what a lovely start! I feel like I've just entered the tavern. I've seen some old friends, and everybody's smiling, and somebody just handed me an ale. It's that's just very charming. There it is in chat. Lots of people sharing their enthusiasm and compliments. Much to the same. Yeah, you guys just kind of feel like you've landed on a sound. It sounds very clean. It sounds very um, like it's very cohesive what you two have done together musically. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the influences that you've drawn from for your composition so far?
Okay, sure. I'll start. First of all, before we even ventured into the actual composition, we agreed on very rigid rules on instrumentation, because the truth of the matter is, I'm an instrument hoarder. Firamiel is an instrument hoarder, and for me, it's not limited to just physical instruments. I also hoard a lot of virtual instruments like sound libraries and all. So there are so many situations where both of us can get stuck in option paralysis. So we said, okay, we'll do this, but let's limit ourselves to two instruments each. So for me, I assign myself a regular classical nylon guitar and a guitar lele. It's same tuning as a guitar but smaller body, so it sounds closer to a medieval lute,
Mhm.
like an ook with six strings. And Firamiel has a collection of penny whistles, that Irish tin whistles. So she decided to use around two. And an even greater limitation is those tin whistles are fixed at only certain key signatures.
Mhm.
So that's even less of a problem for us. We can just focus on just the music with this. Okay, we have four keys we can work on, four instruments, let's write. And with that, we didn't even think of a happy accident, but one of our friends eventually told us, hey, you know what? This sounds authentic because you limited yourselves to like two instruments each per piece. And in the medieval times, traveling musicians could only carry like small instruments because they have to walk on foot and all and all. So it's like, oh, you know what? That is actually true. So the everything you heard is born out of that limitation. And it really works because number one, we could work faster. We could come up with simpler ideas. We can just focus on the basics of the music, the melody, the rhythm, and nothing else. No fancy orchestration, no massive style, cinematic, whatever's, just the pure music. And I think we really enjoy the process. It's something new for us, and we really enjoy the result.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, yeah, and you were also talking backstage a little bit about kind of like the purpose of putting this project together. Like the Tavern Melodies, capturing that feeling that you had in that tavern, but also like wanting to share that same feeling with others. And you said that you had like a lot of success on that YouTube video of yours already. It's reached like 16,000 views on YouTube, and this is just 2 weeks old. But it sounds like the music is already finding its purpose. What else do you want to say about like the reach and the influence that it's had so far?
Shira?
Uh, I this is kind of not exactly answering the question, but a bit. Let's just say, we were commenting backstage that we decided to make this project like faceless, in the sense that we are not using our faces in the materials that we are creating, like the videos or the album covers. We are using like images related to the themes of medieval stuff and everything, and not like, because usually we both tend to, on our solo projects, we tend to do like videos of ourselves playing the instruments or using our own faces a lot of times on the album covers and stuff like that. And we went the opposite route this time. And I think using the images of like medieval things and also the types of videos that we are creating, I created a lot of videos that I posted on my TikTok, and we are like really trying to find. I think using these images is making it easier to find the target audience than using our own faces. I'm not like trying to talk down on our own faces. It's not that. But but I think when people don't know you, sometimes it's easier to make them connect to a style if like right away there's like these elements that they can relate to other things. So we were very careful with the videos, the short videos that we are creating like on TikTok or on Instagram. And we are doing like videos like in the style, oh, do you like medieval music? I think you could like this. Do you like Dungeons and Dragons? Maybe you would like our music. So we are really targeting this audience, and I think it's really finding the right audience already very fast.
Hmm.
Because I mean, like I said before, of course we both have SPG to a bigger stance. Of course, he has a long career, and I have a shorter one, but we both have our own audiences. But I think this is finding like another audience. This is funny because the people who are like commenting on the videos and everything are mostly new people. They are like not from my channel or from SPG's channel. And that's actually very funny because I kind of expected the videos to have like more people coming from our channels. But this is also great because this means that it's really finding the right audience for the songs that we had in mind.
Yeah, definitely. I can picture a lot of people just turning to it for, you know, background music for their D&D sessions and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yes.
Anybody who's playing like a tabletop RPG would love to put this on, or even, you know, just like, I don't know, maybe there are actual taverns that would, you know,
Yeah.
just put like the one
Yeah.
you were at, if you're at.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. I would love to talk a little bit more about the influence, but we've got a lot of juicy music, juicy melodies to sink our teeth into. Are you ready for our next couple of tracks?
Okay, I think speaking of influences, we're gonna play the next one called "A Hobbit Festival is Happening." This is directly inspired by some of the tunes from Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker. So what we do is, so Firamiel and I, we play a lot of games, sometimes together, like Valheim or Lord of the Rings Online. But we also dig ourselves into like Witcher, anything that is medieval fantasy themed, at Dragon Age, for example. But so sometimes we pick certain elements from certain songs in the game. Like, for example, Witcher 3, we had a lot of inspiration with the Priscilla song. Dragon Age Inquisition, we had inspiration with Enchanter and Empress of Fire. Specific songs that, you know what? I would like to compose something in the style of this. So, for example, this next song, uh, inspired by the main theme of Wind Waker. So I kind of appropriated some of the harmonic progressions, but then I added my own melody and added my own rhythms. And Firemel added her beautiful flute playing on it, and then okay, it's now an original, something like that. So a lot of the songs has this kind of origin. Oh, I got inspired by this song from this game or from this movie. Let's copy it, copy, but not really copy in the copyright sense. So that's pretty much how all of these songs were born.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. And then after a Hobbit festival is happening with dancing and ale. But what about second breakfast at the medieval tavern? Oh my god, I love a greasy spoon. All right, folks, let's.
Dance again.
Wow, that last song there. But what about Second Breakfast? It sounded like there was sorrow, but it was like in a quest, and they were like on a mission to get that second breakfast. I really felt that. Well
They
composed.
need it.
They're so hungover, and they really need that second breakfast after all
Oh
the
my god.
dancing and the ale. Oh my gosh. Oh man. That's really lovely though, and like speaking to what you were saying earlier about like being limited in the number of scales and stuff that you can use. That one definitely sounded like, oh, this is like the minor that we can get out of the out of the penny whistle,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I used two whistles on the song. So I have like I think I have five different keys of whistles, but I opted for the C whistle, and my C whistle can also play the yeah, the C whistle. Wait, the C whistle can play also F major, uh, and the D whistle can also play the G major. So, and the relative minors. So these were like our options for the songs, and we were limited also in instruments. But like SPG said, I think this really helped us because both of us have a lot of instruments. For example, you guys are seeing my harp here, maybe.
Yes.
So I have like a harp, and I have an ukulele and violin and ocarinas and tin whistles and a lot of percussion stuff, and I don't know, other things. And so when we do collabs, a lot of the times it's like, oh, okay, this sounds nice, but I think this needs, I don't know, I think I'm going to add like some arpeggios on the harp, and then, oh, okay, this sounds nice, but then maybe, I don't know, maybe SPG goes there and like, oh, let's add some bass. Oh, and then, I mean, it, it really is nice to do this, but at the same time, if you want to do like an album and possibly a series of albums, which is our goal, and for one song you're taking like months to do one song, then it's not like really feasible. So we were like, and especially for original songs, it could get even worse than for covers, because we could like basically make up anything we wanted, and then it could become like endless, and we wanted to avoid that. And I think it was very successful in getting something that like sounds complete. And there's also something else, at least in my mind. I had this picture that I wanted this to sound like you were listening to two like actual musicians playing live in a tavern, like not like something super produced with a lot of VSTs, a lot of stuff. I wanted this to sound like you were like on a tavern and there were like people playing there. For example, the bands that I went to see today, all the instruments are acoustic instruments, and it's very like chill and sounds great. I love this style, but it is like this. It is like minimalistic,
Hmm.
because you don't have like a lot of manipulation of the sounds. So this is also something that we were like going for, something that sounded more organic and like you were actually in a tavern, and like just seeing people playing live, and that's the mood.
Yeah. So this is also definitely very much in connection with the possibility of playing our compositions live. This is one of the reasons why we wrote the music in the realistic way. Like when you're writing a grounded story, you're always concerned about realism or the physics of the thing. For musical realistic physics, can two people actually play this live? If the answer is yes, then we are in the right direction. Something like that.
Oh, definitely. I've always loved minimalist projects. Like duos and trios. There's something about that, just like you have so few options that your only choice is to be really tight, and like you were saying, the creative limitations that you're giving yourselves, not only like speed tracks, but it helps you like laser in on like what your options are, and working out the little intricacies of the differences between like melodies and progressions and stuff like that. Yeah, you guys definitely hit the nail on the head with that one.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh
you.
man. On a lighter note, since we're talking about ales so much, I wanted to know like what you guys thought about ales, and what maybe some of your favorites are.
Oh, okay. I like stronger ales, so I like, for example, a beer that I always have at the taverns called Amber Ale.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very good. I like that one, but they didn't have it today. It was very sad. I I also like stouts. I am definitely on the like, I'm not like a pilsen person. I'm more like, I like stronger ale.
As for me, I used to be drinking strong beers, especially when I was still living in the Philippines. We had lots of options for beers. The Philippines is a beer drinking country. Pilsen, light beer, strong beer, you name it. But also eventually I gradually moved away from drinking beer and started to just drink liquor like whiskey or vodka, mostly for weight loss reasons, but sometimes I still enjoy the occasional beer. And when I visited Brazil and got to hang out with Firamil in that particular
Ah,
tavern, I actually got to try mead, honey mead, and it
Hmm.
was, well, it's
that's
sweet,
true.
but it's also super strong. I was like, oh, what, wait a minute. I need to slow down on this.
Oh man, meat
But
is
you
pretty
didn't.
pretty strong stuff. Oh wow, Isabel's got some dirt on Diwa, no
Got
doubt.
deets.
Beats on Diwa. All right. Maybe you can dish on that a little bit later. Yeah,
Hmm.
meat is one of those things you gotta like watch out, because it's like it's sweet, but it makes you like warm and fuzzy, and it'll catch up with you before you know it.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
True.
That
well, speaking of knowing how to pace yourself, this next track is called "End of the Day in Hobbiton Time for Another Round at the Tavern." And then the other song that we're going to be listening to is "Another Late Night at the Tavern." So we're having a hard time getting home, folks.
yes.
Diwa and Isabel, do you want to preface these tracks with anything before we listen?
Yeah, I think these two uh, these two tracks are some of the more contemplative pieces of music, because by default we wanted to do a lot of danceable medieval tunes, but sometimes we also can't help to be a bit more expressive, especially you're gonna hear Isabel's amazing long notes in her flute playing, super expressive with all those bending glissandos. And sometimes you cannot achieve that if every note is like fast paced. So once in a while you have to sit down and enjoy the beer at a slower pace, something like that.
Wow, well said. All right, folks. Well, let's dance and let's listen. Yeah, that is definitely some sipping music right there. That is end of the night, being not too
You're
rowdy, so
you're
that
like this. You are drinking and you are already like in this mood.
yeah, you want to finish it because it would be a shame not to finish,
Yes.
but you really kind of just want to be at home in bed.
But it's that moment when you start to like think about all of your life choices and you're like questioning everything and you're like,
Oh man, that's how they end their days in Hobbiton, I suppose. Oh no, and then they wake up and then they're too sober to remember all of their misery. Um, oh my gosh. Yeah, this is really beautiful so far. I because we talked about our favorite ales, I thought it would be fitting if we also just like briefly talked about our favorite axes. Do either of you have a favorite axe?
I have one favorite axe, Gimli's axe from Lord of the Rings. I
that's a
mean,
good one.
It's a good answer.
is
Yeah.
there any other iconic axe? I mean, we have lots of iconic swords, Excalibur, Master Sword. Not enough iconic axes, to be honest. And I think Gimli's sword from Lord of the Rings, one of the most iconic axes, especially if they're like j- uh, jutting from the nervous system of some urukai or orcs or something like that.
Wow, what a visceral image you've just conjured.
It's an actual script from the movie,
Oh my
I'm a nerd, so
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Isabel, do you have a favorite axe?
Oh, I don't know. Lately, I am finally watching Vox Machina. So I can say Grog's X maybe, just because I'm watching this and I like Grog a lot because he's so silly.
Oh man, I'm kind of a Axe body spray kind of guy myself.
there it is.
I'm just kidding. Where's the product placement? No, no, seriously. But folks, if you're going to conventions or Renaissance fairs, please do wear some deodorant.
Yes,
Um,
highly agree.
oh man. Um, yeah, like what was the production process for you too? Like obviously you were working remotely. Did you guys
Yes.
like run into any kind of challenges with not being able to share the same room during your composition or your recording processes?
Yeah, definitely. I'll start. So Firamil and I, we were talking briefly about this in backstage, but you know, our collaboration. So just a little bit of a backgrounder. Firamil and I, we run our own individual brands. I go by String Player Gamer, and Isabel goes by Firamiel in our YouTube channels and all that. And sometimes we started collaborating these two individual brands. So we would do collaborations on Legend of Zelda, Witcher, mostly Witcher. And, that became some sort of training ground, like training ground for our own processes for collaborating. So most of the time, one of us would initiate a melody or initiate a musical stem, like 4 bars of a musical idea. Hey, let's expand this. And then we just use like messaging tools like Discord or email, and we just say, hey, I recorded this harp. So for this particular album, uh, we started with track 8, actually, a medieval dance under the stars, and it was actually Firamiel who pretty much dug up first ground, as the saying goes, by recording a simple harp loop. And then she sent me this, and oh, yeah, this is a good start. And then with just like 1 or 2 nights of just in the zone session for me with my guitar, I recorded like 8 or 10 short snippets of a melody or and rhythm, because personally that's how I compose. I think for a long time, like months or weeks of thinking ideas. And then in just 1 or 2 nights, in one like long-winded in the zone moment, I record everything in like one session. And then the next morning, I sent Firamel, "Hey, these are the ideas I recorded. What do you think?" And then systematically, because Firamel goes to a day job and I work from home, she's not able to always record everything. So for systematically for a few weeks, she one by one added her flute. And oh my god, this is starting to form up. I'm so excited. Okay, now we need to like mix them. So it's just pretty much a back and forth of email, and thank goodness we decided to have limited instruments because it means lesser files to send to each other, which even makes the process faster and more efficient.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I also wanted to mention that like when you have those writs and you have like little moments of the meter just kind of like slowing or swaying in speed a little bit, like naturally if you were in the same room you would kind of feel those moments. Was that something where you had to like one of you would record it and then the other would have to feel that, or did you kind of like decide on click tracks? How, like, what was that all like?
It was a mix of both. For example, just the 2 tracks we listened to, since these are like the slower ones, one of them I recorded with a click track, and just for this one, I did an open D tuning, D D A A D D for the guitar. So it's just like one chord with open string is just like wonderful neutral D. So it's very very nice for just loose improv. One of this, I think number 5 is very improvisatory, very free flowing, no meter. The other one, same method but with a meter this time. So definitely, and then I send it to Firamiel, and she would listen to it multiple times. Oh, and then she'll figure out, oh, I'll do this and I'll do that. The more danceable ones definitely has meter because we want to have that stable beat.
Yeah.
Firamiel, I think you want to add something to the flute process.
Oh, I think SPG recorded a lot of the stuff on guitar and sent me first, and then I had like to. Sometimes I would like follow his melody a lot. Other times I did like some kind of counter melody or something. So it was very improvisatory, I would say, but I think this works for this style because it feels like kind of almost like two musicians like improvising on a tavern. Of course, I mean I had some structure. Sometimes I would test something and oh, this sounds weird, and then I would do something else, of course. But it was almost like, oh, I think this. Sometimes I would like listen to a track on a loop a lot of times, and then another melody would come to my head. Other times I was like, no, I think for this one I should just stick to this melody that is already here. So it was kind of like that. But something that's really, I think it's cool. It's because on the first times that we did collaborations, me and String Player Gamer, when we did the Witcher collaborations, we were following like more of a classical style of collaboration. What do I mean by that? The first collaborations that we did were on String Player Gamer's channel, and he would like do the arrangements and just send me the parts like with actual like music sheets. Oh, I wrote you these parts to play on the flute or something like that. And one thing that it's cool, it's that I'm not sure if you noticed this, SPG, but now you will. Uh, with over time, our collaborations like stopped being like this. We started to do the same style that we did in these tracks, we were already doing on our last collaborations, because our last collaboration was actually on my channel, and it was City on the Mesa from Horizon Zero Dawn original soundtrack. And we didn't write down anything. So we were totally in this almost improvisation style. So SPG recorded something, and then I would record something, I would send to him, and then he would record something, and nothing was like written down. So we totally like, and this was more an evolution for me than for SPG, because SPG already played a lot of stuff like mostly by ear, and he did a lot of improvisation. But I came from a background where I was like very my first instrument was actually violin, so I was like very dependent on music sheets when I started like to do covers and stuff. I had to had something to follow, or otherwise I would like freak out. I don't know. Sometimes even if I could play something by ear, I kind of needed to be looking at that. It was very, I think, mental block or something. But then I started to play other instruments, for example the whistle, the harp, and these instruments I already started playing them without using like sheet music. I don't use it. I started to play them straight away from by ear, and then this changed like my whole way of playing. And I think I added way more to the like the folk style. Like folk musicians, they play a lot more by ear than like from written stuff. So I think I started to go more on this route, and this really helped with this album, because if we had like to write down everything, it would like slow us down, and I think it would like also maybe sound less organic. I don't know.
I agree.
No, you two definitely have like honed in on your chemistry for sure. It really shows. This thing seems like it came together like so simply and so neatly. And yeah, and the sound is just like so realized. I love it.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
speaking of your past collaborations, I was told backstage that our next song that we're going to be listening to has a bit of a Witcher 3 influence. Is that right?
Yes, the title is "Not All Who Wander Are Lost." That's actually a quote from Lord of the Rings, but this is inspired by both Witcher 3, a combination of Witcher three's Priscilla song and Dragon Age's Enchanter. Both of those songs have a very poignant, very melancholic tone to themselves. I only kind of emulated the guitar plucking style and like the first two chords, and then deviated from there. Firamel added her own melody, and this is this has become our low key favorite because just because of how emotional it has become. When I started recording this, I wrote the melody and I played the melody on the guitar. But since the guitar is kind of has some sort of limited emotional expression ability, you can only express so much with like one pluck, and then the note fades out. But at least on flute, which sounds kind of similar to a human voice, you can expand the note and bend it and make it more emotional. And Firamel, oh my god, one of my favorite performances, definitely for this album from Firamel's flute playing.
Wow.
No, you.
No, you.
All right. I'll cut that off right now just so we're not here all night. And then after that, we're going to be listening to what you said was the first song that came together on this album, A Medieval Dance Under the Stars.
Yes. Now,
Wow.
first album, Firamel wrote this loop, and I, since this is like the first one, it took a bit longer for me to kind of figure out what will I play with this, and then like just listening and kind of feeling the vibe. It eventually came to fruition.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear it and to share it with all of you, folks. Let's listen. Oh, that the medieval dance under the stars. It feels like we're doing like a maypole or something like that, like a nighttime maypole. Like, oh, this is all la 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 la. Anyway, sorry, I have clearly danced around several maypoles in my life. No, no,
I can see that, Josh.
okay, okay, thank you. Oh man, I wanted to ask just because this music is clearly meant to be used for people like playing tabletop like action not action but just like role playing games and stuff like that. I wanted to ask like what some of your favorite memories. Obviously you guys are both big nerds. What some of your favorite like tell me about a really cool D&D moment that you recall, something that maybe is influenced this music in some way or just something that stands out in your gaming history.
Fira?
Okay. This is going to disappoint people. I will start by saying that, but I used to play a lot of role playing games when I was in high school with my friends, which is probably not very surprising. But what's going to disappoint people is that we didn't really play Dungeons and Dragons much. We played GURPS, and we played also some other. We played Vampire the Masquerade a lot, and we also played a kind of a medieval game that used the same system from Vampire the Masquerade, but it was like in a medieval setting. And if you want like a funny memory, I will give you one when we were playing this game, because my character was like a fairy, like really small fairy, and the master like, oh, you have these points and you can spend on your attributes, and I was like, oh, okay, okay. And then I decided that I wanted to have a pet, and he was like, oh, but you already spent all your points and now you want to have a pet. I was like, oh, but come on, I mean, give me some points for my pet. And I was like, okay. And then he gave me like almost no points for my pets. And then my pet was blind and didn't have a tail.
Aw.
Couldn't attack or do anything.
So it was just literally something that you had to take care of.
Yes.
You wanted something that might like help out in battle a little bit or like
Yes.
espionage.
Oh
Yes.
no.
And that was really funny, and when we were playing this game it was really funny. We had a lot of weird moments, but I remember specifically this one where I was so disappointed at the pets that I was allowed to have, and I was like, okay, and like cry on the corner with my like pets that would only give me trouble, and not a pet that would actually help me in battle, because I was already very small, and like I don't remember. I think I spent like all my points on charisma. I was like, oh, I will like talk my way out of everything.
The ultimate role playing strategy, yes.
Wow.
Well, it doesn't sound like your pets were very charming, so
No.
you had to make up for it somehow. Oh my
Oh my
gosh. What
gosh.
about you? Do you have
Oh my
any
god.
amazing role playing memories?
My first role playing memories. I'm mostly a gamer who adores role playing games, but when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, my first actual Dungeons and Dragons rules experience was Baldur's Gate 2. So Baldur's Gate 2, they have just released Baldur's Gate 3, right? But Baldur's Gate 2, oh my god, what are all these numbers when and what the hell is a critical role? I was 11 years old and I was immediately thrust into this Dungeons and Dragons rules. I just wanted to have like a gaming experience where I control the character, like fight some monsters, like a Final Fantasy or like an Elder Scrolls. But then I I got Baldur's Gate 2 thinking it would be like that, but no. But long story short, I kind of understood it. I understood the rules as I went along, and I died so many times, and I got robbed by bandits while resting in the road. And
Oh no, the noob fell asleep in the ditch
hmm,
and now he has no money.
exactly, but it was super fun. It was super fun. But I've never stopped loving any RPG, especially like, Western RPGs, JRPGs, CRPGs, any kind of RPG, any configuration of RPG, especially if there's like a sprawling world map, stats that you can alter, items and gears that you level up. Oh my god, it's a plus 10 double silver plated armor? What? Give it to me.
Wow, double silver plated armor. That sounds very specific. Oh man. If anybody wants to know what Diva wants for his birthday or for Christmas,
Yes.
get him some double plated silver armor. Oh man.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Right on. Well, thank you for humoring me there. Yeah, we've got a couple more tracks coming up. I think you guys said you had a lot to share about these next two tracks. We have Candlelight Musings at the Medieval Tavern and The Hobbits Dance and Clap Their Hands, Good Times and Ale at the Tavern.
All right. So Candlelight Musings, oh my god. This this is inspired directly by right after we finished our Horizon Zero Dawn collaborations, which was the song called City on the Mesa. And we were finishing that as we were beginning Axe and Ale. So I stole the guitar pattern from City in the Mesa from Horizon Zero Dawn and use it in this dun 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 dun. That is the guitar pattern. But of course, I used my own chord, my own harmonies. Pyramid added her own melodies. But just that one musical meter that I used got we got this new original song. And for Hobbits, dance and clap their hands. Oh my god, this one is more a direct inspiration of the Baroque side of tavern music. And when I say Baroque side, like the court dance, the royal dances, where those portrayed in movies where they hold their hands and they rotate and change partners, something like I don't know what even that dance is called, but they always play some sort of waltz that sounds close to what Bach's minuets are
Hmm.
sounding. So I pretty much wrote a Bach esque piece and added our own spin to it. That's
Okay.
it.
Well, I studied counterpoint a little bit, so maybe after hearing that, I'll tell you what I pick out. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, folks. Yeah, as you wait to see what my intelligence holds, I will
Oh
put
my
on these
god.
new songs. All right, folks. This is Candlelight Musings at the Medieval Tavern, and Hobbits dance and clap their hands. Let's listen. Oh man. All right. Backstage earlier, you asked me like what my favorite song on the album was, and I think that was it. The Hobbits dance and clap their hands, good times, and ale at the tavern. Oh man, the SEO
Yay.
on that song is amazing. But I also really just love the play between the minor and the major forms of the melody and the harmonies and stuff like that. It's just something that adds so much depth to a composition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I realized that I haven't brought it up yet, and I kind of feel bad, but I wanted to point out the incredible album art that you've put together for this. You've got like a rabbit with a turtle shell, who's being ridden by what I can only assume is double-plated silver armor
There you go.
on that
There you go.
other rabbit there. This is a beautiful piece of work, and also looks very much in line with like kind of that etched style of like a classic medieval art. Uh,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
Firamel and I were debating how will we package our like aesthetic when we do the album art, and we actually had an option. Oh, maybe we can just like royalty free images of like taverns, and just like recolor it a little bit on Photoshop, or we can go the meme route and use like all those strange
Yeah.
figures from medieval illustrations, and
With like the
really,
heads and like they've got weird expressions and
Yeah.
stuff.
yes,
Yeah. I
yes,
was
exactly.
yeah. I was telling SPG, and if you visit our Facebook page, we even shared some of those like weird medieval drawings, because I am absolutely fascinated with those like medieval art. They have like murder bunnies, and like a bunny that is trying to kill people, a bunny that is like riding a person or something like that.
Just like in
And
Monty
they,
Python, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they do like so many crazy drawings. And I used to play a really, I was going to say like silly, but it's more like because it's super simple, but it's actually a great game. I will not be like, I was being unfair because I love the art of that game. It's called Marginalia Hero, and it was a game that I played on my it's a mobile game actually, and it uses like real actual medieval art, and it has like all sorts of crazy creatures and all sorts of like crazy enemies. Like, I don't know, this medieval art can get so crazy. And we were like, okay, we could like just go for the routes that SPG mentions, like using generic images of taverns, which is what we ended up doing in our videos. We like use some, well, generic images of taverns, but for the album we were like, oh, let's try something like that will stand out more. Let's like try something that it's more in line with those crazy murderous bunnies and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I think we can both. I think Firamel and I agreed that the music is already kind of on the serious side, so we wanted the marketing and others to be a bit more on the cute side, so something more humorous. And luckily, I mean, I don't always say this. Yes, I have a music degree from college, but in high school, I was actually a visual arts major in an art school in the Philippines. So I used all my visual arts, graphic design, and painting knowledge, and we looked up a lot of like royalty free images. Can we use this? Can we use this? How about this pattern? Oh, and then we kind of had like lots of back and forth on our our Discord chat. Do you want this? Do you want this? Okay, and then I'm trying to make up an edit, and this is what we came up.
Really? Wow. That's all like a composite pretty much.
Mm.
That's incredible. Yeah, really well done. I did not expect to hear that you had done that yourselves, but yeah, wonderful job.
Yeah, Loki information.
Yeah. Right. Well, we don't have your face. We don't even have the album title or anything on here. But like you said, the music carries its own weight
Yes.
and finds its audience already. That's amazing. Oh, well, we have but two more tracks on this album to listen to: Medieval Dance of the Hobbits, preparing for a very special birthday, and Hobbit Dance Around the Fire at the Medieval Market. Yeah, what do you want to tell us before we get into these last tracks here?
Oh yeah, sure. Medieval Dance of the Hobbits is definitely an allusion to Bilbo Baggins' birthday, and we kind of wanted to emulate because in the movie, when Bilbo celebrates his 111th birthday, they played a piece of music called Flaming
Yes.
Red Hair. That's the name of the piece. And we kind of wanted to emulate the vibe of that. It was very danceable, but also very positive, and it's celebratory. And for Hobbit Dance Around the Fire, this is actually a melody originally composed by Firamiel, and we were emulating one of the town themes from Witcher 3. When you go into a town, sometimes you see these NPC bards that are playing in the background, and sometimes they play this fast tempo music. And yeah, we wanted to emulate that kind of feeling. You're entering a town, festive, crowded market, and there's bards in the corner. This is what they're playing.
Wow, really beautiful, folks. Well, then here they are: Medieval Dance of the Hobbits and Hobbit Dance Around the Fire. Let's listen. Yes, beautiful. Sorry, I forgot to count us in, but we are back. Oh man, I love the way that ends. It just and to put a capstone on the album itself as well, just like it feels like it wraps things up really nicely and ends on a ha. Um,
Yes.
yeah, that's just really
High
beautiful.
notes.
And I was listening as I was listening to it. I was like, "Oh yes, that is another one of the melodies that really stuck in my head after the first listen." And
Yay.
Fira, you said that was one of your melody compositions too. So very well done. That's yeah,
Oh, thank you.
Woohoo.
I,
beautiful.
it was actually an older composition, because I think for some of the other ones it was the same for SPG probably, but I originally recorded this melody like I think last year, and then I did nothing with it, which is kind of usual for me, unfortunately. But then when we started this project, I was like, okay, I have a melody that I never used. I think we can use it for our project.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's pretty much a reality for me because I'm a full-time composer. So I have my phone always at the ready when I come up with random musical ideas. Hey, that sounds good. Record it. And then at the end of the week I have these like 10 to 15 composition melody ideas, and maybe one of them gets used for for a real project in the next month or something. But yeah, because I my mind is so already trained and conditioned to think like that on a daily basis. Melodies just pile up, and sometimes, wait a minute. So I have this like digital treasure chest of stored melodies, and whichever project needs them, hey, this fits there. Okay, I'll use that. So something like that.
oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And as we bring this album listening party, or sorry, the album just itself to a close, you've also mentioned that you've got a lot of plans for Axe and Ale. You've got lots of melodies and other things that are kind of like in the works. Of course, it's in the title of this one alone that this is Lute and Flute Dances of the Hobbits Volume 1.
Yes.
Yeah, like what's coming up next for Axe and Ale?
Oh
When
my
should we
God.
expect Volume 2? When are we going to get a live concert? And will you sign my copy of your weird rabbit art?
There you go. There you go. So definitely we want to exhaust all the ideas that fall under the Hobbit theme, but we're also already discussing other ideas. We're like in this zone of conceptualizing. We're centralizing it on the concept of a tavern. There are so many locations that will always have a tavern. What if an orc village has a tavern? The pirate village has a tavern. What would the music sound like in a goblin tavern, a dwarf tavern? So an elven tavern, kind of, you can already imagine it would sound like the harp music in Rivendell in Lord of the Rings. But we're also trying to come up with what about a Viking tavern? So it's all tavern this, tavern that, but like in the lens of a different niche culture in fantasy. So Vikings, I mean, Vikings are historical, but they've become sort of legendary fantasy nowadays, elves and all that. So, like, we're so obsessed with what would an orc tavern sound like? What are the
Yes,
instruments that they would even use, or something like that?
I'm not
the
picturing
arc.
like something that's like completely atonal and and
Yeah,
chaotic.
And it's interesting because if you're thinking about Lord of the Rings orcs, they're brutal and violent, so probably a lot of metallic sounds. But then you look at the orcs in World of Warcraft, they're a bit more peaceful and civilized. So they have like
yeah,
marimbas and xylophones. Oh, wow. So it's interesting. It's interesting thing to think about.
that's true.
Yeah, you guys are going to be able to open your toy boxes and break some of those limits a little bit. Start
Yes.
bringing out the rest of your medieval appropriate instrumentation.
I will have to use this as an excuse to get bagpipes and to get a hurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy-gurdy. Oh yes. Oh man.
It's
Please.
my dream.
There you go. There you go.
Finally, the excuse. Yes, there it is. Just lands in your lap. Hurdy gurdy, here we come. Oh, well,
Oh,
I definitely look forward to more releases from the two of you, no matter what the instruments are. Yeah, like just to reiterate, is there any chance that we will be able to see any live performances from Axe and Ale?
well, it's the reality of the situation is Firamil is in Brazil. I'm in the United States. Travel is difficult. However, we are not closing the door on that because I mean I've already visited Brazil. What's the chance that I will visit again or film it? We go to Magfest maybe 2025. I don't know.
Wow,
It's
I don't know why don't they invite us? Then I would have an excuse to go.
y- like I said, we are not closing the possibility. We are not like it's not a number one priority simply because of the location. But for example, if Firamil and I were like neighbors, oh, we'd be performing like every week in whatever location. The physical location simply hinders it. But oh my god, as far as plans go for the future of Accent Ale, I mean, we already kind of committed to at least 10 albums like this.
Whoa!
And since we already have a very efficient system, we really have like this matching work ethic. We really want polished sound, really good mixing and mastering, and all the technical aspects. So we are pretty much very united in that front and the goal. And we just want also the music to stand alone on itself. That's why we're kind of approaching it like Daft Punk. They never show their faces, or Gorillas, where they have avatars. We probably will
Yeah,
have like an orc and a hobbit avatar or something like that.
SPG just like just one of our secrets. We want to have like avatars for us. Really,
An axe and a
yeah.
nail. Yeah.
No, yeah, maybe, but also we want to have like characters to be us, like kind of like gorillas or Daft Punk or something like that.
Yeah.
And I decided that my character is going to be orc, female orc, and SPG is going to be halfling, like
Yes,
kind
I'm
of
gonna be
like
a
a,
halfling
yeah.
because you can technically use hobbit. Or I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
You can homebrew that in. Come on.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
want to be a hobbit, Diwa, you be a hobbit, okay?
Okay,
Don't
I'm
let
a hobbit.
anybody dissuade you from that. Oh my gosh. Well, Axe and Ale, Diwa and Isabel, it's been absolutely wonderful having you here on Let's Listen tonight. It's just been incredible conversation and, of course, great compositions from the both of you as well. We definitely look forward to seeing more from you, and would love to see either of you perform as Axe and Ale or otherwise back here on bonus stage again sometime soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you so much, Josh. This was a lot of fun and yeah, a wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much. And we also like found, oh, I don't know if I can say that Josh makes meat and that.
Oh, oh, right. We were talking about alcohol earlier, and I didn't want to steal the show and talk about home brewing. But yes, I am.
But I just said that he needs to have like a show about that, and then he can use like XNAO as background music. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think you're going to have to make a couple more albums because it definitely takes more than the runtime of this first
Yeah,
volume here to make a batch of
yeah.
mead. So, I mean, we can always just put it on loop. But
Challenge accepted.
yeah, that's what I want. I want that challenge to be accepted, so we get more of you guys real soon. All right, folks. With that, we're going to start winding things down here. Thanks again for tuning in to bonus stage here for Let's Listen. Just a shameless plug. Tomorrow we will actually be streaming again. The Chicago VGM Fest is happening, and
Oh
they are going
wow.
to be broadcasting that live from the concert here on bonus stage. So definitely tune into that. We're going to be starting the stream here at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. That's 7:30 for you folks on the East Coast. And if you're on any other time zone, you can do the math. All right, folks. I've been Josh. Thank you so much for tuning in. We might start a raid or something, but we'll see about that. Thanks again, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.